Hello, everybody. This is Nick, aka Profit in Training. I'm just starting out, but I'm trying to cover some of the things that I talked about on my last video. And in particular, what want to begin with is people, places, and things. These shorter videos are basically going more into detail what I mean and what has worked for me in the past to move my life forward in a positive direction and kind of cut out all the negativity and the fake people that try to basically stick themselves into your life and make it to seem like you can't change or that you can't become better. But it's all what you do with yourself and how you put yourself out there and how you give certain people your energy and your personality traits. It's just all begins with yourself. I've had trouble for a very long time finding out who are my real friends, who the people I should be around, and it all just stems back to my childhood and the things that I went through as a child. It all kind of started with being kind of outcasted when I was younger for things that have happened to me, and but people just kind of pushing me to the side and making it seem like there's something wrong with me, like I got to do something. And when in reality, it was just children being children and not understanding people who were just a little bit different and people who are a little bit, less social and, less extroverted than others. But, what I've come to realize is you can't really take what these people say about you or do towards you as anything other than them not understanding you and them not understanding what you do for yourself as a person. Me, when I was kind of outcasted by the group I was around, I grew up in a really good household. I grew up with a good education, went to an all Catholic school and a Catholic high school up until I was a junior. And I kind of always found myself on the outside, looking in, the outside groups, kind of the outcast, the person that people really didn't go to make friendships in the Catholic school or, around those types of people. So I kind of found myself gravitating towards more of like the rougher side of things, like I would say, like, for me, it'd be like the street life, acting, as if I had to be a quote unquote gangster, acting like I had to be some hard ass who could just, beat people up and do things and get girls. And, I just put on this persona that wasn't truly who I was, but I just it made me think that other people would like me more and other people would be more accepting of who I am if I just did what everybody else that I was hanging out with was doing. The people that I started hanging out with came from not the best family life, not the best situation. They came out of public school, which, it's not a bad thing to be in public school. It's not a bad thing to be in a bad area. It's just a lot of times you're the product of your environment. You're the product of the things that you grew up around, and you tend to take on those tendencies and take on those, attributes to yourself, and it can, lead you down a path that isn't the best. I'm a lot of people out there that have gone through those things and had that lifestyle are very strong people who have been able to overcome things like that and overcome the lifestyle that they grew up knowing and change that about themselves. And a lot of that begins with looking at the place that they're in is the problem. The people that they're surrounding themselves with is the problem. Because like when I was, I don't know, 14, 15 years old, I started hanging out with people that were smoking a bunch of weed, sitting around, trying to get girls all the time, partying. And, I liked that lifestyle. I really enjoyed it. And, it brought me happiness at that moment in time. But momentary happiness in the long run doesn't compare to a lifetime of happiness with decisions that you make now. And, it made me really take it. It took me a very long time to sit there and look at myself and be like, what is causing me to be this way? And I basically had to sit there and pick apart my life and pick apart the things that have happened to me and pick apart all these events that led up to me surrounding myself with this kind of lifestyle. And then, so when I was 14, I started hanging out in rougher areas with rougher people because I felt accepted. I felt like this was, a second home, a home away from home, because these people accept me for who I am. They appreciate the things that I do. They appreciate the the kindness that I have, and so it was very easy for me to fall in with this crowd, because they weren't judgmental and they weren't the type of people that would just turn their backs on you, because a lot of people in the street life, a lot of people in the rougher areas tend to gravitate more towards loyalty and gravitate towards honesty with the people that they find to be closest to them. But on the other hand, they tend to drift towards more illegal things like, selling weed, selling drugs, robbing people, doing burglaries, doing breaking and enterings. And it's more of a normalized thing to them because they see it as, we're making money. We're doing this because we need to. We're doing this because it's a necessity of lifestyle for us to be able to move forward and become successful in the ways of money. And that's just not a very good way of looking at things, because money isn't everything, and money doesn't create happiness, but it can create a, fog to where you believe that you're happy, you believe that you're doing things in a good way, but it's all very detrimental to the person that you're going to be throughout the rest of your life if you don't figure out that these behaviors are wrong, and they can be very, very bad for you. So the best way that I went about doing it was trying to pick out the people that are truly have their best interest for me, and leaving the rest behind. The people that I was around growing up, I'm appreciative of their friendship. I'm appreciative that they were there for me, but it was just a matter of time before I sort of needed to move on from that lifestyle, because that lifestyle was either going to end up with me dead or in prison, because I was out there selling drugs. I was out there doing drugs. I was out there doing things that I would never imagine I would do, because the drugs turned me into a person that's not of quality, of honesty, of of a person that you would want to put yourself around. So it caused me to end up in prison. I ended up and did time because of the actions that I did, and I feel like a lot of that stems off, it was normalized to me, just for the simple fact that I was around these people all the time. I was around the illegal activities and the things that were so normalized when they were just completely wrong. And when I was in prison, I sat down and I thought about it, would I still be making these same decisions if I moved myself away from the people and places I was going? And I found the answer to be no. I would not continue doing these behaviors. I would not exhibit any of these attributes for myself if I just moved myself away from the people that don't see any harm in doing a little illegal things every once in a while, because even just one little thing can snowball into something that's so much bigger than you would ever imagine. And that's what happened with me. Is I started down the path of using Xanax. I mean, I've dibbled and dabbled with everything. I've had an addiction to cocaine, had an addiction to Xanax, had addiction to codeine and everything else. And it's just, I never thought about the fact that I mean, I was around these things because of who I was hanging out with. And, it's hard to sit there and, try to move yourself away from people like this, because a lot of times they're your only friends. They're the only people you have around you. But it's all about understanding that you deserve a better life, and the way to a better life is by surrounding yourself with people who have goals, who have ambition, who have drive for something better, who have qualities of qualities of a very good person, like someone who's honest, somebody who's caring, compassionate, genuine, someone who gives you their all and doesn't really expect anything else besides you giving your all towards them. Those are the people you want to surround yourself with. Those are the people that will make a difference in your life, whether it's for the best or for the worst. And I've sat back and I've contemplated what needs to happen for me to do this. A lot of it stems from social media. People feel like they need to be accepted. People feel like they need other people's approval to do things. When in reality, it's only up to you what you want to do and what you want to become in your life. And trying to please other people and trying to be a people pleaser and trying to be someone who's seen by a lot of people not being yourself, that's just not going to be a happy life for you. You're going to be miserable because nobody around you is going to be real. Nobody around you is going to be honest. Nobody around you is going to be an actual friend for when push comes to shove, will be there for you and hold you up and see that you're struggling. You know, it can be, people kind of might say it's selfish for you to cut off people that aren't benefiting you, but in all reality, why wouldn't you be selfish for a better life and a happy life? And if these people truly want to see the best in you, want to see the best version of yourself, they will understand the distance. They will understand the separation that you have to put in between you and them, and they will try their best to better themselves as well. Those are the best kind of people you can find. Somebody who can look outside themselves and understand that, you know, maybe he's moving away in a direction that's going to be best for him, so I can possibly do the same for myself, instead of just being like, oh, that person's, screw that person, fuck that person. That's just all about positivity and negativity, and I just don't feed into the negativity anymore. I'm very, very positive, and I try to be a source of positivity towards every person I come into contact with, because everybody deserves somebody positive in their life, even if it's just for a momentary moment of their day. You know, you can make a huge difference in somebody's life by just being a little bit more positive and feeding into that positivity, giving it your all, and giving no energy into the negative, because anything negative you can turn it around and make it into a positive. It's just the way that you have perspective and the way that you look at those things that are negative, because everything negative that happens, there's always something that positive, that something of worth and something of value that can be learned and incorporated into your lifestyle through those negative events. I got locked up, and I could have, just been down on my luck, been upset, been pissed off, been in a position to where I felt like it's the world against me. But instead, I took that time to really self-reflect and understand that I put myself in this position by the actions and by the circumstances that I was allowing myself to be in. And so I've truly made a huge 180 change about the people I put myself around, the places I go, and the things that I allow myself to digest online, which is, whether or not I'm sitting there just looking at negative stuff all day, people being negative, the depressing posts that are constantly flooding Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. There's a lot of people that feed negativity. So instead of feeding into that, I took it all and I blocked or unfollowed everything that I found to be negative, and I've done nothing but put myself in communities and following pages that do nothing but spread positivity, stoicism, and motivation, just so that every day I wake up and I see something of importance that I could change about myself. Stoicism is very, very important in a lifestyle in a life of happiness, because you have to understand that everything happens to you happens for some reason, whether you like to believe it or not. There's a reason for things happening, and you are not in control of anything outside of yourself. And you have to accept that you cannot control the outside realm. You can only control the way that you think, the way that you move, and the way that you allow these negative and malicious things into your life. Like, you can never change what happens, but you can definitely change how things will come together in the future if you just accept that negative thing that happens and take it as a learning lesson and a way to a better life, because it's definitely worth it, and it's definitely a mindset that I've adopted for myself. Stoicism is a great thing, and it's a very, very effective way of thinking, and it's a very good way to be able to gain some perspective in life. Perspective and the way that you see things and the way that you are thinking about those things will make the difference between a mediocre, unhappy, and unproductive life, or a happy, disciplined, and very successful life. I just believe that it all begins with a mindset and being disciplined on that mindset, and never allowing yourself to falter from that mindset. It's all a very big thing, and it's very key and essential into your life growth. But this channel is meant to help people open up their mind a little bit and see things in a different light. I'm not out here just doing this for myself. I'm not doing this to try to gain any type of fame or any of that. My goal is to be able to help the people who have been struggling to find a person who's relatable and person who's been through a lot of trauma and a lot of struggles, because I've been through a lot, but that doesn't mean everything that has happened to me is any worse than what anybody else has been through, because all trauma is very, very real and very, very difficult to handle. And I just want everybody to know that there is hope and there's a light at the end of whatever darkness that you're going through right now. There is definitely light that can be shined into your life just by simply changing a few things in your lifestyle. But I'm coming to an end of the video. I just hope that everybody that's watching gets a little bit something out of it. This is a very difficult thing to talk about sometimes because of the things that have happened to me. It brings up a lot of memories, but I feel like going through this change and going through this process of opening up to the world about the things that I've gone through is a way that I can become better as a person and, hopefully change a few lives along the way. Because this life is amazing and wonderful, and there's so many blessings and wonderful things that can happen in your life that you would be blind to if you don't change the way that you think and the things that you do. And it's just unfortunate to watch people go through struggles and not understand that everything is going to be okay, everything's going to work out, and you just have to stay positive and you have to stay working hard towards a better life and a better future. Not for any other reason than you deserve it, and you deserve a life of quality just like any other person. But I hope everybody has a wonderful night, and I'm thankful that for all the support that I've gotten so far. I would really appreciate it if you subscribed, liked the video, maybe share it with a few people if you find it interesting, and comment anything that you'd like for me to talk about. Comment anything, even if it's just, a question that you have for me, and I'll address it in my video, and I can address it on the video, or you can send me a direct message. I have an Instagram, I have Twitter, I have everything to make it myself available to anybody who needs me. I'll actually add the links to my Instagram, my Discord, and everything down in the description. But you guys have a wonderful night, and thank you for watching. Have a blessed one.